We are just 1 week away now from Decision 2014. You'll be facing a long ballot come next Tuesday. In the city of Grand Rapids, one question could change the face of the city commission over the next few years. And 24-hour News 8's Joe LaFurgey is taking a closer look at term limits tonight.
And transformation.
The pros and cons are many when it comes to the term limit debate. Supporters say term limits bring in fresh blood, opening the door for more candidates.
Term limits could be a good solution in dispersing this power periodically back to the people.
But detractors say they infringe on voters' rights.
I want to be able to say with my vote, someone is doing a good job or someone is doing a bad job.
Grand Rapids voters will have a chance to decide which side they fall on next Tuesday. Appearing as a charter amendment on the Grand Rapids city ballot, the measure would hold city commissioners and the mayor to 2 4-year terms. If a sitting commissioner wants to run for mayor, the clock would start over. They could spend 8 years on the commission and another 8 as mayor with voter support.
Now, if you want to get a better idea on who's behind a particular issue or idea, you have to follow the money trail. And that's exactly what we did.
We looked through initial spending reports from both Grand Rapids Citizens for Municipal Term Limits and Protect Your Vote GR. The pro-term limits group has raised just under $8,000 for their campaign. Our review of campaign financial statements shows most of their support came from individuals. Smaller contributions from Grand Rapids and suburban residents were the norm, $10 here, $30 there. But one thing that caught our eye were a number of out-of-state donations. Over 1,600 came from out-of-state. Many we tracked to leaders in the national term limits movement. On the Vote No side, Protect Your Vote GR raised over $13,000. They too had a lot of local support from people across the ideological spectrum. But groups who do a great deal of business in the city, projects that often go before the city commission, also opened up their wallets to the tune of over $7,500. If passed, the measure would bring sweeping changes to City Hall over the next few years. The mayor and all but 2 city commissioners, the 2nd Ward's Ruth Kelly and the 3rd Ward's Sunita Lanier, would not be able to run for re-election when their term is up. A fact detractors say exemplifies one of the dangers of term limits.
If elected officials are constantly moving in and out of City Hall, then the power and the decision-making is in the hands of invisible, unelected people.
You solemnly swear.
Williams points to Lansing as an example. Voters enacted term limits for state offices back in 1992. Over 20 years later, some who supported term limits back in the day are rethinking their support now, expressing the same sentiment as Williams. But supporters of Grand Rapids measure counter it's mostly the politicians affected by term limits doing the complaining.
If there was a need for a change, if the people thought there was a need for a change, the initiative again need to start from the people themselves.
In Grand Rapids, Joe LaFurgey, 24-hour News 8.
When election night gets here, make sure you stay with 24-hour News 8. You'll be able to watch our election night coverage next Tuesday starting at 10 o'clock right here on Wood TV 8.